pals and non-binary pals, GM Potter here, and today we will be going over Reaching for Hope, Strategies and Support for Partners of Transgender People by Suzanne DeWitt Hall. This book came out in 2001. It has a 5 stars on Goodreads, and I would have to agree with that. Essentially what it is kind of a self-help book for, like the title says, for the partners of transgender individuals. It goes over, kind of gives insights into what the transgender partner is going through during the early days of their transition and lend support to the other partner. I myself am trans. I'm trans non-binary, meaning that I identify neither as a man nor as a woman. My partner is cisgendered, meaning he as assigned at birth. So reading this for me kind of gave me insight into kind of what he would have been going through when I was in the early days of me trying to figure out who I am and who I want to be, which I found invaluable. Additionally, I think this was unintended, but my partner is also asexual, meaning they don't experience sexual attraction, and when they were figuring that out about themselves, this book actually helped me kind of acknowledge and go through what that was like for me going through as a non-agender, as an allogender individual. The book does have a handy definition of terms page, glossary at the beginning, that goes over terms like cis, meaning not trans, all the different terms that you'll go over in the book, which I appreciate. While I knew all the terms, not everybody will, and it would save a Google review and having to leave the book to go out and do a Google search and find out what they're talking about. The book itself is written in the style of a daily devotional or daily reader, and it's designed to help and support partners of trans individuals. I read this book in one day, like practically one sitting. Like I got up once to use the bathroom and then went right back to the book. I found myself just engrossed by it. While that isn't the author's intent to read it all in one go, I found myself just entranced by it and just interested in, from an empathetic point of view, what my partner was going through while I was finding myself, while I was renaming myself. In my personal day-to-day life, I go by the name Tiger, which is the name I had when I was very, very young, because apparently in my crib I made sounds like a baby tiger, and so I got saddled with the nickname Tiger, which I decided to go back to as an adult. GM are the first 2 initials of my legal name, Potter being, of course, my last name. Something I really, really liked about the book is that at every step, it encourages you, in whatever way you are capable, to pursue some form of counseling or therapy. That they go out of their ways to state, the author goes out of their way at the beginning to state that they are not a therapist, they are not a counselor, that this is just meant to be supportive, and that if you're fine, and it gives ideas and things to look out for that show that you may need more help than what the bare bones of the book can give, which I really appreciated. I've read quite a few self-help books and things of that nature, and very few of them talk about the importance of therapy and the importance of counseling. And especially your Jen Sinceros, your Rachel Hollis's, like, it's kind of it treats it almost as a lack or a moral failing, that you have to reach out and have somebody to talk to work through things, which, as someone who is in therapy, I find it invaluable just to have a neutral third-party sounding board that I can talk to, that I can go in and say, hey, this is what I'm dealing with right now, this is what I'm going, and have somebody to go through with and talk about these things that affect me, that affect my loved ones, that affect every aspect of my being. So, notable quotes. Since it's in the style of a devotional or a daily reader, in each chapter, each day's reading ends with a quote, and I picked out my 3 favorites. They're all from the beginning of the book, so there's no spoilers here. They quote Ellie Sage as saying, I think that there is a single. I think that if there is a single thing that cis people should understand about trans people, it is that they aren't trans because we transition. We transition because we're trans. Stopping a trans person from transitioning doesn't make them not trans. It makes them miserable. Which is someone who is trans, and while nobody's transition looks the same as anybody else's. I personally haven't done too much in terms of transitioning other than changing my name and my pronouns. I prefer they, them pronouns. I have friends who are trans who have gone the full hormone replacement and surgical route. I have friends who are just now discovering their true selves, and I'm excited for them because I think being your true self just promotes happiness, and if there's one thing that looks good on everybody, it's happiness. True, unadulterated happiness and joy that makes everybody just the best version of themselves. So, I really like that quote. They also have Richard Rohr as saying, "Life is not made of creating a special name for ourselves, but uncovering the name we've always had," which I kind of like. I recently got to be part of the naming process for a very good friend of mine. They were like, my name that I was given at birth doesn't really match who I am. What do you think? And I'm like, well, I think this is not the name I think of when I think of you, but this is a name that when I think of this name, it promotes the same feelings as I get when I think of you. And so I got to kind of, in a small part, be part of the naming process for a dear friend of mine. And then the author, this isn't one of the quotes at the end of the reading. This is actually from the book part itself. So Suzanne DeWitt says, "Transgender people throw a monkey wrench into the system because without a binary, it becomes much harder to draw lines of who belongs where, and therefore who should control who." So I really appreciate that as someone who grew up in a very religious background. You end up with kind of ideas that everyone belongs in a box, and this box goes on top of that box, and that box goes under this box, and this box goes over here, and this box goes over there, and that all of these boxes have a hierarchy, that the man's box is up here, and it's the most important box, and then the woman's box is over here, and the children's boxes are over there, and different sizes and different configurations of boxes, but that everybody goes in a box. And something that I've learned as an adult is that you can't put people in boxes. You can't put people in boxes. You can't put people in closets. You can't put people in cupboards. People are meant to be people. And should you read this book, if you're going through you yourself, or if your partner is realizing that they are trans, I find this book to be incredibly valuable. Even if it's just a friend, if not a partner, even if it's just a friend or a family member, I still find this book to be incredibly valuable to read and to understand. The book itself was actually given to me as a reader copy by the author, but I would like to state that all opinions are my own. I have not been compensated in any way for this review. And just a final note that trans people aren't trying to hurt anybody. We're just trying to live our most authentic lives as ourselves. That we're not here to hurt you. We're not here to scare you. We, for the most part, just want to be left alone with ourselves. And once other people finally understand that, I think we'll have a lot more happiness to go around in the world. So, are you going through a transition? Is your partner going through a transition? Would you consider reading this book? I highly hope so. Let me know down in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!